appreciate that. With that, I want to introduce Rumsen, from the Rumsen community, Linda Yamane, and I really appreciate working with Linda. She contributes so much here to this community, and this is just for people to know that our Rumsen community continues to be here and thrive and contribute to our community. So, Linda, thank you, and let's turn it over to you.
Linda Yamane. My name is Linda Yamane, and I'm a member of the Rumsen Ohlone tribal community. I really hope that I'm coherent for you this morning. It's been a long haul preparing many things for yesterday at Abalone Beach. Not just for dancing, but there were things associated with that, but in particular, I'm my own worst enemy. I get ideas, right? And then it's not easy pulling off those ideas. So that's what happened, and I got this idea that we would dance at the beach for this first Monterey Abalone Festival, and that sounded so wonderful, and it was in the end, but I didn't realize all of the logistics that would be involved with that, and so a lot had to be prepared and pulled off yesterday with the help of a small number of really dedicated friends, one or two of which are here today. So I really thank you. Anyway, and then I got the other great idea to make ceremonial staffs that I have been wanting to make for quite a number of years based upon descriptions of feathered, festooned, decorated staffs that the Portola group of people saw and described, but unfortunately they did not describe them in detail, but they described having met people along the way while traveling through Ohlone territory in whatever it was, 1769, I think the first one, and they finished off on their second round trip from San Diego in probably, I guess, 1770. So I did have, if you were out there yesterday by chance, we did have all these staffs attached to the stakes around the perimeter of where we were dancing. So yeah, I'm kind of coming off of that as well. Anyway, so let me pull up the first slide. As you can see, this is my family tree. I kind of just thought it would be nice to share, going back in time through to my oldest known Rumsen ancestor, who was about 15 or 16 years old when she was baptized at, actually she wasn't baptized initially at Mission San Carlos, she was baptized in our village of Putna, and then under danger of death, and then she was baptized a second time at the mission. I know, I kind of don't like it when people do PowerPoints and then everything that they say is on the page, on the slide, but there are a few times I'm going to just do that. So Vizcaíno, who was here for a short period of time in the winter, I think it was late December into early January, if I remember correctly, in the year 1602, left this description that references abalone. There are many fish and a great variety of shellfish between the rocks. Among others are some huge shells clinging to the deepest rocks. The Indians look for these to remove the meat inside to eat, and the shells are very beautiful with fine mother of pearl. So what I wanted to share with you that now you've probably read already is that the word abalone actually comes from Rumsen language, from our word aulun, which is our word for red abalone. And then the Spanish here learned that word from the Rumsen people of the area, and they ended up adopting that word and then kind of changed it. Instead of Alun, it became Abalone, and then English-speaking people here in Monterey during that time also referred to them as Abalone, or Abalones in plural. In 1850 and also 1875, there are records, Monterey records, in which, in English, are referring to Abalones. Like there's a newspaper article from 1875 that is talking about the abalone shells that are strewn on, either, I don't know if it was on the beaches, but I believe a lot of abalone shells were dumped in various places around the area as, the leftovers from the abalone industry. And it was so cool when Tim found that article quite a number of years ago, and he said, found this cool article, and there it was. Abalones are on the beaches, or wherever. So, yeah, the etymology of that word is pretty interesting, and it's pretty cool that it came from our language. So I was looking through my folders. I found that I have a couple of file folders in which I've been accumulating little bits and pieces of information over the years, both scientific and cultural, that I've gathered over a few decades. And there I found a page night before last that I had handwritten probably about 25 years ago. I had copied this Rumsen, a little bit of Rumsen language that had come from the John P. Harrington's unpublished field notes. And which, if anybody's interested, they're housed at the Smithsonian, but they are available online now. And previous to that, I used to access them by microfilm. Yeah, big old microfilm reader at my house, and now they're online. But anyway, so on this page was the Rumsen word cheek. And I had forgotten about that, and the word means to pry or chisel abalone from rock. So I was pretty excited to find that the other night. And it was Isabel Meadows, daughter of a Carmel Valley Rumsen family. I wanted to say that she was born in July 1846, but it was in July of 1935. There are a lot of Julys here. But she was born in July, I think it was July the 7th. 1846. In July of 1935, towards the end of her life, she was working with John P. Harrington, who was a linguist and ethnologist. And then I realized, wait a minute, July of 1935, that was like 110 years ago exactly. So it's interesting, just somehow those dates all jumped out at me. And the fact that she had shared this bit of information with Harrington was interesting to me, and it struck me because it kind of pointed out how the cultural importance of abalone has actually endured throughout history. Like, in spite of all these most difficult times that our community went through and the assault on our culture, this tradition of abalone endured. Okay, so I included this slide because of the Abalone Prize, and you've probably already read it, but around here in this area, at least the Abalone Prize that survived, it actually occurs to me right now there could have been Abalone Prize made of other material. If there were wooden ones, I did read, I kind of jotted the note down here that the Pomo people north of San Francisco, that they made them out of wood. So we could have had wooden abalone prize, right? But they would have decomposed over time. But whalebone hasn't. And so there are a number of examples in the area. This one has been at the Carmel Valley Historical Society, but I don't think that it will probably be there, for a really long time, because a number of things are going to be repatriated that they have. So it depends which collection this came from. because today I wanted to share kind of a sprinkling, because it's a short presentation, so it's not something, it's not going to be extensive, but I wanted to give you a little taste of a few things local, with a little sprinkling of outside this area, but a few examples in other tribal areas of California. And one thing I ran across is that the Pomo people actually had abalone feasts, and they would travel sometimes 4 to 5 days to get to the ocean. They would harvest abalone there, they would get them and mussels, and they would dry them because they were able to store for a very long time in baskets. I include this because, for the interest of our locals, it's kind of cool to see specific things that have come from specific places rather than always the generic stories. And so this piece came from Berwick Park in Pacific Grove, which we all call PG. I almost can't say Pacific Grove anymore, but I realize people who live outside the area might not know what I'm talking about. And this, in my mind, would have probably been a blank. People refer to it as a blank. So it's a piece that's the initial piece that's shaped out, and then from there it will be refined. I know you can't see from there. And by the way, the reason I wore my regalia is I thought I should let the abalone speak for itself. It'd be better than any of the words I could say. But this piece, if you're able to see it, that it's incised all around the perimeter. And that's very well what may have eventually been done with this piece. Very common, very iconic, and very beautiful. So these two little pieces, again, these are not finished pieces. They're not incised around the perimeter. They're not drilled. Their shape would probably be refined to a cleaner edge. And these came from Cypress Point. So it's just kind of nice to get a little sense of this variety of things. Now, the really spectacular thing for me is I photographed an illustration out of an archaeological report, or maybe two ARC reports. The first image there, so what you're looking at are remnants from an archaeological setting of a burial that was encountered on Cannery Row. And I don't know what the Rossi site might be referring to, but I assume normally that would refer to a family name or a business name. So it would be a particular parcel. And I don't know what the circumstances of the archaeology, how that came about. But this burial, then this particular person had these ornaments in the area of that would imply that it was a skirt or something, a garment down here, kind of what we would think of as the skirt area. So this is at the Monterey 386, which is the first image. That's at the corner of Foam and Dickman, for people who are locals. And the person buried with this, now the site dated to approximately 3,500 years before present. We don't know if the individual was determined to be male or female, but what I did read is that there was a similar, kind of a comparable Abalone, decorated skirt feature in Santa Clara County, and that person was determined to be male, which surprised me. What I believe I could say for here, I don't know for certain, but it's my educated guess after studying our area for a very long time. I would say that this would not be what the average person would be wearing. I would think that it would not be a lot of people who had such regalia, but possibly for dance. But for most cases, I think it was a person who had more social stature, in the community. Now, for the second one, I don't think I was able to find any additional information for Monterey 3, is that 371 or 391? 391. But it's roughly in the same area. Now, this piece is from outside the area because, again, I kind of wanted to give you an idea of how pervasive really the importance and the use of abalone has been throughout Native California. This is from far northern California, the Pitt River, so-called Pitt River area, but in this case it was the Achumawi Band. Shasta County, as you can see, collected in 1875. And what's so beautiful about it to me is just the massive application of abalone pendants. And I would so love to see it in use because the abalone pendants are all attached to a head net. And a lot of people don't realize that head nets are very, very common throughout Native California. Men wore them in a lot of cases every day. For those of us who have long hair, you know what it's like if you're actually trying to work in the garden, bend over, do anything. It's constantly rip off the thing, put your hair back, you know. And so men actually either wore their hair bound up, you know, in a man bun up here, I guess, or with a daily, you know, like an everyday sort of head net. But a head net is so important for men's regalia because that net goes on over the head first, ties, and then all of the additional headgear are then kind of attached to it. Things aren't going to slip and slide while you're moving. And I just always, when I see this, try to imagine how amazing that would look in use, in practice. So this slide, these are a couple of necklaces that were collected here, I assume in the 1800s, probably the early 1800s, by Russian visitors. And by Russian, I mean a lot of things that were, a lot of early European visitors to Monterey were from places that today we call Russia, because many, you know, many groups of people were pulled together, and I'm not a historian of that era or that location, but even a lot of the things that are in German museums today, they, those people who visited and collected were actually part of whatever it used to be called. You know, so actually I think they were consolidated in the past and then broke back out into their origins and are different countries now. But these are very quintessential old-time abalone necklaces. And then I kind of wanted to make sure that I didn't leave all of this in the past because obviously the importance of abalone continues to today. And I was so taken by these beautiful bags that a contemporary artist, name I don't know, created based upon old-time pieces, because the little bag, it's a knotless netted bag, and the little bag on the right looks so much like the decoration of some of our baskets. You know. So kind of the design elements, but also the materials cross over into various, you know, they could be on baskets, in this case, similars on this knotless netted bag. Same kind of patterns are on these amazing feathered belts that were actually similar to being loom woven with feathers then, you know, included, and the belts are maybe about this wide with feather work, and then olivella shell bead patterns like the diamond-shaped ones in the bag on the right. So these are some pieces from, I guess I'd probably have to call her more of a colleague than a close friend. She doesn't live nearby, but we've known each other for many years, Tiffany Adams. And these are a few examples of some of her beautiful and creative work. Things that kind of go beyond the typical, I'd say. She does really fine work. And then another colleague who's Chumash, Leah Mata Fragua, which is so great, using the rims. Which normally I kind of think of the rims as, oh, set the rims aside, don't know what to do with the rims. Look what they've done with the rims. It's gorgeous. And then just a couple of pieces of things that I've made. I think Tim, is Tim present? There you are. Oh, is Tim present? That was his Christmas present. Last year. Yeah. And then the necklace on the right is not exactly a replica, but a necklace made in the very same style as some very, very old pieces. And then a couple of examples of abalone that I almost always, if it's a fancy basket, I almost always include abalone pieces. And I am, by the way, that reminds me, I'm on the last month of making a basket for the Dunn Museum. And, so now that this Abalone Festival is over, weave, and then I have some abalone pieces set aside. I think I know what I want to do, what shape and size, but I really realized I have to wait until the basket's finished or almost finished so I can try out some pieces and be sure that they're proportionate, that they hang, before I go through the work of cutting and grinding and polishing. It will happen. And then this is a basket that I completed in 2012 alongside a similar basket for the Oakland Museum, and they both feature abalone pendants. But what I realized when I ran across this slide and decided to share it with you is this. Is that so amazing? So this is by Suzanne Takahara, mosaic artist from East Oakland. And I'm going to go forward so you can see. I believe it's at least somewhere around 10 by 10 feet. Roughly 10 by 10. But I'm going to back up so you can see. But, well, in this one it's kind of nice because you can see how beautifully she managed to convey the qualities of abalone, you know? She ended up using glass to convey that iridescence. And now I'll back up again so you can maybe see a little closer. Oh, would you want to hit the lights again just so you can see the color?
Where in East Oakland?
On International Boulevard in Fruitvale, right next to East Side Arts Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. She did an amazing job.
Oh, that's amazing.
I did want to share this part because I wasn't sure if I could find the citation the fact that, at least for the Central Valley Yokits peoples, that the abalone itself was considered to have supernatural power. And, you know, most of us, I would say, it could probably be accurate to say all of us today, I mean, we would not have been raised with that belief. So, it's informative to us, right? It adds like another level of understanding, I guess is how I would put it, for how abalone was seen and treated and lived with in the past. So anyway, whether now or in the past, abalone has had deep relationships with California's first people. I wanted to ask, who's the gentleman who's giving the next talk on black abs? You. So, red ab is kind of flashier, right? Red ab is super flashy, but I love black ab too. And I just wanted to point out to you that most of this is red, but all of the pieces on this belt, I made all of them with black ab.
Beautiful.
And I love the backs as well.
Yeah, but whiter, right? Brighter.
In the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same, all the multi colors. It's more subtle, but it's so elegant. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to learning more about it.
All right.
Okay.
Linda, would you mind walking all the way down here so we can see your regalia in the back?
Yes. No, I would not.
Would you please parade? And shuttle? Yes, our runway.
Thank you.